Where are we taking these guys? These two right here. These need to go right. Extended, confirmed, and when you press this belly. Alright, so I'm gonna say a prayer. Hey, Mel.
Alright.
Breathe.
What happened to you, man?
I think I fucking something on the side. They put a chest seal on it.
Put a chest seal?
Yeah.
I don't see one though.
Fucking deflated the worst case scenario, I'll do it.
Okay, so he's his vitals 150. No blood pressure. You got to do double check there.
I'm sorry, man.
Alright.
What do you want us to tell your family?
He's good to go.
Right here, immediate.
Rotate! Rotate right, rotate right!
When you guys get through the door, y'all.
There's nothing in his eyes. We're gonna clean up his face a little bit. It's okay. See.
Yep, we're just like stimulating. Here.
Raise up. Bend down. Stand up. Litter team. Penetrating shrapnel to right upper quadrant, right lower quadrant with.
Yeah, and this is stuff that's going to be, we'll keep this outside of our box because it's fun.
You still breathing okay, bud?
Yeah.
Good?
Probably once you reinflate that lung, the sash should come up, his breathing should drop, and he should be more stable.
3, 2, 1, let.
It's tragic what happened. What I saw. And this
Specialist Rodriguez. I'm here at MK as a firefighter.
Okay, can I have your first name and your unit, please?
My first name is Victor, and I'm part of the 1440th Engineers Detachment.
What did you do today?
Today, I went over a mass casualty event for NCAB, and we triaged, simulated multiple casualties. So for a mass casualty event, we had, let's say, a missile come in and explode. We had, let's say, 15 victims. And so with those victims, we have to triage and understand who needs to move to which medical facility possible, which first, and triage like red, yellow, green, good, kind of okay, and immediate needs to go. So very start getting on scene, we spread out and we start marking people with our green, yellow, red, black. Black being most severe and green being walking wounded. As such, say they just got scratched, they're bleeding, they're able to walk, they're sensible, you're green. As in black, you are deceased or expecting to be deceased. And so that's our main part, first thing that we do on scene. And then we run into immediate. So if you are red, immediate, we try to take care of life-threatening concerns. We prepare for these certain types of scenarios by taking classes and having our superiors help us in the sense of giving lessons, classes, and doing practicals. We had the Romanians there. We had the French there. We had our combat medics there. So how it was like training with NATO forces, I think it was awesome. I like it. I like seeing what they would do and how they do it. It's different procedures, different types of care. And I like to see how we different between us and them.
What were some big differences that you noticed?
They really got in depth with their medical compared, since we are first responders, we're only allowed to do a certain amount of things. But since they are higher medical care, and I'm still learning medically wise, I like to see how they went about the situation.
Do you think exercises like this are important, not just for your own readiness, but for like strengthening alliances with NATO forces?
I believe that these type of situations are very important because if any military base could be attacked in reality, and we have to be prepared. If you don't train, you lose it. So that's how I believe so. And having the NATO forces join in on it helps us create that counterpart that we all should have as partners, especially in NATO at this time too.
Yeah, I'm First Sergeant Denny Taylor. I'm with the 2nd Mobile Brigade Combat Team. I'm the Charlie Med First Sergeant in 526 Light Support Battalion. So how close this is to a real life scenario, a lot of times whenever we're training personnel, not just medics, but think like CLS, we don't specifically cater to combat, even though we are preparing for combat. We also like to use scenarios such as like the Boston bombing or the Orlando shooting, car accidents, because it gives them the buy-in that it could happen anywhere, anytime, at any moment, and they need to stay prepared and well-skilled to help salvage individuals.
So what goes into that preparation for something?
So preparation for responding to casualty incidents would be 1, exposure to managing persons who are in some type of distress. 2, being able to follow an algorithm, massive hemorrhaging, airway, breathing, circulation, and understanding how vitally important those are to conserving that individual's life. So what we did today was a mass cal exercise for the installation, so all of MCAB, where we brought in the key role players such as the fire department, the aviation brigade or battalion that's here, the Romanians, the French, the NATO forces that are here. And we came together collectively to respond to a notional mass cal incident where chaos would occur and lives could be lost if we didn't practice outside of those. So knowing who's going to respond where, how we're going to get soldiers to and from the roles of care, and then how we're going to move them from that role of care to a higher level of care as needed. So in the role 2, we have 4 tables. Those 4 tables allow us to do immediate interventions, light surgical, that could preserve them long enough to stay with us for about 96 hours, or if we have the capabilities of flying them out over to Launch Stool or another location, getting them there pretty quickly. The first vehicle that showed up was a FLA, where we had an immediate patient come out of it. It was the French FLA though, so they could only fit 1 person in there on a litter, and then the other person was ambulatory. We got the immediate person inside and treated, and then we started receiving more of the FLAs coming in. So our American FLAs can fit 4 litter patients inside of those, whereas the French ones only have the ability to fit 1, as does the Romanian one. So when we received the FLA with 4, there was a French one that was directly behind it, and we got 5 patients really at a time coming in. We would triage them as rapidly as possible. If we had open tables and knew that they were more immediate, we would go ahead and put them in a table. We also activated for the remainder of the medical personnel within 2 MBCT to come over and assist, and lucky for us, right next to us is a role 1. And so being able to get more immediate patients on a trauma table with providers doing those interventions to salvage them, and their advanced life support teams to salvage them made a huge difference. So to work with our NATO partners was a blessing. I could see that they were very excited to work with us. I was very excited to work with them. They actually did a few patch exchanges with our medics. Knowing that our operations are joint service and that we service NATO, it's a critical component to us being successful as a unit and in the wars that we face, right? And though there might not be combat here, the war that we face today might be a situation where we have to all care for our soldiers, regardless of if it's a threat or if it's an incident that occurred, like heaven forbid one of the tents catch fire and service members in there need the care, right? We can trust our NATO forces that are here that we trained with to provide that care. The more we build trust, the bigger the camaraderie we have and the more shared understanding that we can bring to the table, and really who benefits from that. For medically, every single person. That's undoubtedly a benefit to working with ally forces. So the challenges that our medics faced today were very common ones that we have with MASCAL incident. So we put the moulage on them, but moulage isn't reality. And so being able to assess vital signs and really getting like hands inside somebody's body will always be a challenge, simply because we're not going to actually hurt somebody to, you know, be able to train and render care on them. But it was very good moulage, very realistic training.
How did you?
I am extremely proud of how MCAB performed today. My expectations are always very high because I'm a first sergeant in the United States Army. They exceeded those expectations today, and I'm going to go to bed tonight very proud of the team that we have here, and a lot of confidence in knowing that if a situation were to occur, we could seamlessly work together to help the service members that are here, allied forces as well as American forces.
Chaplain Justin Philistine with 2502.
I am Specialist Abigail Dage with 526 LSB.
And what are your MLSs?
I'm a chaplain's assistant.
And I am a chaplain. Sure. A part of what we did today was patients as they came in. We prioritized who was expectant, and if they were, that's the opportunity for the chaplains to give last rite prayers. Me in particular, I'm a Protestant chaplain, so my role was to ensure I looked at the dog tags, and if they were Christian or Christian non-denominational, even Catholic, I would be willing to say like the Lord's Prayer or Psalms 23 prayer over them, and then just be there in the moment and create an environment of peace, and it's pretty much the main role of chaplain support.
Just before I get you in.
Yeah, an expected patient is a patient who has little time to live and may be unconscious or conscious, but they will pass from this life to the next.
Yeah, so today we assessed the casualties. We couldn't treat them because they were expectant, so we just prayed over them, gave them a calm and a reassuring presence, and made sure that they're comfortable going into the afterlife. So as a 56 Mike, as my chaplain is a Christian chaplain, I can give soldiers their last rites, whether they're Norse or Wiccan or Hindu or Buddhist, to which I'm comfortable in doing that, in which my chaplain would not be or would be.
For a chaplain, particularly Protestant chaplain, I had years of ministry. In addition to that, we go to Chaplain Basic Officer Leader course. We're at the schoolhouse. We talk about our role as a chaplain is to honor the living, nurture the wounded, and care for the dead, or honor the dead, sorry. So in that, we do memorial ceremonies. In addition to the memorial ceremonies, we have, there's certain scripts that we might be given for distinctive faith groups. Mine in particular, Christian, we have like a prayer for those who are dying in the Christian faith, and then there's additional prayers for those who are of different faith groups, and if that chaplain feels comfortable, they can pray those prayers or give them to their 56 Mike to give those last rites. So that's a little bit of the training that we go through.
You go through the same?
Yeah. So as a 56 Mike, this is what I'm here to do. This is what I love doing, whether it's comforting or talking to soldiers. So you can't really prepare for it. It's just something that either you do or you don't. And sometimes you just gotta hold yourself to it and make sure that the soldiers always come first. And like Chaplain said, care for the wounded, honor the fallen.
I think it's always good to get opportunities to train as you fight, and having an opportunity to get sets and reps in, being in an environment where there is potential expected casualties, given the opportunity to pray over individuals and then get feedback, you know, once they can kind of stop their role and say, hey, as we prayed over you or as I prayed over you, what would be something, God forbid, in this situation, what would be something that you would want to hear from a chaplain? And they can give me feedback and say, hey, although I may be religious, I would prefer, rather than praying for me, maybe praying for my family, for my kids, or they are not religious at all. They may say, you know, it was reassuring that you just had your hand on my shoulder, and I appreciated the prayers, and I also would like to hear something about the fact that my service was noble or honorable. So to get that feedback in real time without having an actual dead patient or somebody dying, I think it's good just to, it helps me build my readiness and reassures me that what we're doing is important and that it plays an important role in the life of soldiers that are in that room and maybe even their family members.
So just like Chaplain Philistine said, fight, train as you fight. And the more reps you get in, the more it's going to come natural to you. And so that if this situation was to happen, you wouldn't be sitting there shocked and not knowing what to do. Some people don't know what it's like to work out of the role too, so it's very light or career altering to see what it's like to work out of a role 2 or role 3. And so the more you know, the better it is to treat those casualties and make sure that they're comfortable as possible.
Just, I think continuing to do exercises like this are beneficial because even the patients who, whether they were religious or not, thought in the moment when they were given the last rites, man, this is real, and it's a sombering moment, and it brought just a full spectrum. It brought a lot of reality into the what we do from beginning to end of mission, beginning to end of life. What we do is important, and for them to get to maybe even be prayed over or watch their buddy be prayed over, it just kind of brought everything to a head. So I think it's good to be able to include the chaplain and the religious affairs specialist in the training environment because it's what's going to happen in real life. So that's my big takeaway.
Yeah, just like Chaplain P said, like I'm really grateful for First Sergeant Taylor and Captain Sam's always involving us and showing us what it's like to treat casualties. When we were back in the rear, we did CLS training, and so we have more hands-on training with that, and so that we could help them if we're not praying over soldiers or expectant, and so it's really helpful.
Hello there, I'm Ryan Armstrong, PFC in the Active Guard Army, and I'm a 68 Whiskey, a combat medic.
And which unit of Guard Army?
I am currently in 2nd Brigade, 101st, 526 Charlie Co. Today we did a MASCAL training exercise. We went ahead and basically deal with fake patients and were to notionalize and work on them and try to save lives. My role in this, I'm a Role 2 medic, so I work kind of like an ER situation. We work around tables, there's about 4 medics per table, work on a person and try to do all the life-saving measures that they need at that current moment. We do these exercises pretty common during field operations or on deployment like currently now. We do it pretty often, try to keep our skills honed and to go ahead and be the best medics we can be. The purpose of this exercise is to hone our skills and to show the system into where patients are able to travel from the front line and point of injury all the way up to a standing hospital and we're kind of like the intermediate step between those. Absolutely. So something happens, boom, explosion, people get hurt, and then they go ahead and are seen by their medics at a Role 1 level. Then they are transported by our people at the Role 2 through military ambulances called FLAs. They go ahead, come to the Role 2, see more definitive care, and then get transported up to a standing hospital, which would be a Role 3. And if need be, can even be transported up to a Role 4, which could be places like Germany or the United States back home. Indeed, we went ahead and worked with partner forces. We worked with the French and Italians and the Romanians as well, since currently we're on a joint base with them. And from what I saw, they did a pretty good job.
What did they do?
So with the partner forces, they were more of the Role 1 categorization. They went ahead, picked up the patients and dropped them off for us. But they did like simple medical procedures, doing tourniquets, chest seals, bandage wraps for the patients that were coming in, so made it so we had less work to do for them. When they come in with different stretchers and we're not able to transport it as easily, it's a little bit awkward because they come in with ambulances and they're not meant for really military use. A mass cal is a mass casualty. Essentially, it means that there's too many patients to be seen at one time and it overloads our resources. So we have to triage them, which is basically categorizing them into how urgent they are and having to sort through people and try to save as many as we can do within a short period of time. I think today we did about 2 hours of mass cal, roughly. Today there was the MOI, the mechanism of injury, was a missile strike / explosion. So we saw a lot of like internal bleeding, shrapnel, burns, and like obstructed airways, and just overall nasty stuff. Probably just the biggest challenge is not knowing what's coming right away, as well as just not being able to see what type of injuries are happening to people before they come here.